Hey everyone, what's up? I am Exit over here, and I'm here to talk about, I guess, Elseworlds, an Elseworlds video, and just the Arrowverse in general. So if you haven't seen Elseworlds yet, there will be huge spoilers for it in this video. As a matter of fact, the title of this video itself might probably be a spoiler for Elseworlds if you haven't seen it yet, so probably don't watch this video. If you have seen Elseworlds, or if you want to know things about Elseworlds, then I'm going to be talking about what possible deal Oliver made with the Monitor. So this has to do with next year's crossover more so, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was confirmed at the end of Elseworlds. So Oliver definitely made a deal with the Monitor. It cut away before we could find out what he said to the Monitor to convince him to help him save Barry and Kara, but there's a lot of things that Oliver could have said here, and we probably won't know for definite until next year's crossover. I have a feeling that in the run-up to next year's crossover, or just in the crossover itself, we will finally find out what Oliver said to the Monitor, or what Oliver made a deal with the Monitor about. Probably not until then. It's very possible that the first scene of next year's crossover will be the rest of the conversation that Oliver and the Monitor had, and that'll kind of give us context on what Oliver said to him. But there's a couple different things it could be, and I'm going to run down each one, or the most likely ones. So one that it could be is that Oliver just made a deal with the Monitor that when the crisis comes, when the Anti-Monitor comes to destroy the multiverse, that Oliver will rally the heroes together to fight the Anti-Monitor. This one is possible, but I don't think it's that likely due to the fact that the Monitor seems a very straightforward, things need to be kept in balance kind of guy. He doesn't seem like he's the kind of guy to just let things slide. Like if, say, Oliver convinces him of something, he's not just going to be like, okay, you convinced me, I won't do that. No, he seems a guy that he needs a solid reason to do something. And the reason I think this is because if Barry and Kara survive, he made it very clear that balance needs to be kept in check. So 2 people's lives are saved, 2 people's lives need to be given up for that. That's what I took from it. So I have a feeling that how likely it could be that it is Oliver rallying the multiverse, or rallying the heroes of the Earths. I think it's much more likely that this has to do with somebody giving up their lives. More precisely, 2 people giving up their lives, because again, I don't think the Monitor is the kind of guy to let Oliver sacrifice himself on his own. No, it has to be 2 people, just to keep the balance. So I think Oliver made a deal to sacrifice himself to save Barry and Kara, and someone else who we don't know yet. The other person, that's very tricky. I've got no idea who it could be. I would say Felicity, but no way Oliver would do that to Felicity. It really could be anybody, which is kind of crazy, but I'm going to stick to the Oliver part because there's no point getting into who else it could be, because there's just so many people that it could be that there's no point. But to it, Oliver. The reason why this is so interesting as well is because in the comics, the 2 big deaths in Crisis on Infinite Earths are Barry Allen and Kara Zor-El. There are a bunch of other deaths as well, but they're the 2 big ones. They're the ones that everybody remembers. And there's, Barry gets, he ends up becoming the lightning bolt that gave him his powers. And Barry stayed dead for 20 years. He didn't come back until Flash Rebirth in 2006. Kara Zor-El, I actually can't remember exactly when she came back, but the reason why I remember her death so vividly is because we get that awesome shot of Superman holding Kara's body up, and they actually recreated that shot in the Supergirl Season 2 premiere episodes, where we actually got that same shot with Superman holding up Kara's body. But back to what the deal could be. Oliver sacrificing himself, and here's why I think that this has to be what it is. The following scenes after this really hit home the fact that something big is coming, and something big is coming to Oliver. And I'm getting this mainly from the last scene between Oliver and Barry in the bar, where they're having the conversation, and Barry says, "You talked to the Monitor, didn't you?" I'm paraphrasing a lot here, but Barry basically goes that you talked to the Monitor and you got him to spare me and Kara's lives, or you got him to save mine and Kara's life. And Oliver just says, "No, I didn't do anything. You saved yourself." But then the camera kind of pans on Barry for a second, and Barry looks very uneasy with that answer. to kind of show that Barry knows that's not what happened at all. And Barry knows that Oliver has done something that maybe he shouldn't have done. This is also shown in another bit in this scene, where actually before the conversation with Barry and Oliver, where Oliver says that he's not really a hero. He doesn't think of himself as a hero. But with Barry's help, he'll get there someday. This whole crossover was all about Oliver redeeming himself, or Oliver overcoming his darkness. We've done this plotline in Arrow I don't know how many times, but we actually got some real progression on it in this crossover. We saw Oliver smiling when he was in the Flash suit, we saw Oliver having fun, we saw him being more cheerful and lighthearted, and he was about to kill Deegan. When Deegan was Superman, he was about to shoot the arrow into Deegan, but Barry stopped him. Barry said, Oliver, you're better than this. This could be the Monitor's test for you to overcome your darkness. And that was a theme throughout this whole crossover. And this strikes back in this scene where Oliver says that with Barry's help, he'll be a hero someday. I think this is kind of telling us that Oliver may sacrifice himself for Barry and for the others, and when Oliver sacrifices himself to save the multiverse due to Barry, then he'll be the hero that everybody thinks he is. And the third one, and the one that I think is the biggest reason, is because Oliver proposes a toast to Barry, and he says this. He says, to appreciating what you have while you still have it. And him and Barry, they clink their bottles together, and it's a very ominous tone. The music and everything in this scene really gives off an ominous kind of vibe, and all of this coupled together really makes me think that we could be reaching the end of Oliver Queen in this universe, because Crisis on Infinite Earths, the deaths of Barry and Kara were so big because they were in comics for so long at the time. Barry and Kara had both been in comics since the 50s at that time, and they were both two of DC's biggest characters too. But in this universe, Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow, is the biggest hero. He's the one that started it all. He's the one that's been there since the very beginning. So for him to die sacrificing himself for everyone else, I couldn't think of a more fitting way for him to go. I don't want him to go, but if he has to, I think this way is the best way they could do it. The only reason why I think that this whole situation might not be true is mainly because of the show's scheduling. No way the CW is going to have Arrow end with this season without letting us know beforehand. On top of that, no way the CW would give Arrow a shortened season next year, especially in the October season. If CW is going to give a shortened season, it's always in the back half and it's always announced way beforehand. We've heard nothing so far, which again could be used to keep the mysticism, keep the secret that Oliver might die and whatnot. It's entirely possible as well that the back half of the season next year could be all about people mourning from Oliver, but I don't think they'd do that. I think that if Oliver's going to die, that's around where Arrow would end. So it'll be interesting to see that if this does happen, how the shows are going to kind of get around it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on what Oliver's deal with the Monitor was. So what do you think? Do you think I was right? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm looking too much into it? Or do you think he made some other kind of deal? Just, yeah. So thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you, and have a great day.